Welcome to the workshop, my name is Gert, and in this video I'm back to collabing. That's what I've been doing for the entire year now, and I really like it. This time I worked with
IDO, Weltenbauer Club.
He decided on a wizard's tower, and that's exactly what he did. Pretty awesome, right? Now I started off with a pretty clear picture, yet somehow I ended up with a mix between a castle and a church. It is completely modular though. The tower can come out. It's a completely separate piece. So I can use it as a wizard's tower. This tower and entire wall section comes off. So now this entire area is playable. I'm thinking D&D, I'm thinking skirmish games. And there is a secret entrance to the basement. We are going to start from the beginning with this project with a whole bunch of cardboard tubes, Pringle cans, etc. These were the bases for the towers and for my textured EVA foam, 2mm thick medium density EVA foam that I get over at my buddies at cosplayshop.be. I attached these sheets with super glue. There's quite a bit of natural stretch in the foam, so getting a tight fit was never a problem. Now you might be wondering where all that texture is coming from. I want you to meet someone new, a new woman in my life, a new love. This is Lucille. Little tribute to the real king of rock and roll, Little Richard. I will take Chuck Berry as a backup. Lucille is a diode laser kindly sent to me by Arthur, and she eats EVA foam for breakfast. I'll be getting much more technical in a next video. We are going to really deep dive into Lucille. Our buddy Knarb did a great video on this laser on his channel. I left the link below, go check it out. I'm born in the 80s, but I'm basically a 90s bitch, so whenever I see lasers in action, I want some more depth to the stone texture, so I cut out some stones here and there in the pattern, and then I reattach them with super glue to get more of a 3D effect going on. I'm going to build the whole keep on a big chunk of XPS foam, 5 cm thick, 60 by 40 centimeters. I used the towers as my guide to how big I wanted the structure to be, keeping in mind the rocks that are going to stick out from the ground, enveloping the whole keep, giving a nice, cool, dramatic effect. At least that's how it's going in my head. We'll see how it goes. I beveled and shaped the area where the rocks are going, cutting out chunks, roughing off the XPS, till I'm kinda happy with the basic shape. Cut up a bunch of rocks which are going to go at the front of the keep. I stole a cobblestone pattern from the internet, which Lucille then etched into the foam. I also made a custom stone pattern with the Flemish lion and the Walloon rooster, a little nod to some of the more political problems in my country, which I don't really give a shit about, but it's fun. I have a couple of strips left over of more hard EVA foam. This is going to form the basis of the cobblestone. The base for this entire front section is 5mm thick EPVC. It's very strong and it does not warp. I worked the large rocks and the cobblestone onto the base, super glue for the EVA foam. The XPS was attached with hot glue and a little bit of PVA. Now Lucille is not only great at etching EVA foam, she is also great at cutting foam board. 5mm thick foam board for the gate, and I also use the same for all the walls. I added a layer of the wall textured EVA on both sides, glued everything into place. The ground texture on the inner courtyard again is made from patterns totally stolen from the internet. I stole the patterns, but I altered them here and there. Then it was time to build up the rest of the yard with strips of textured EVA foam. With that part finished, I glued on chunks of XPS foam to model the rocks embracing the walls and the towers at the side of the structure. Notice how I aligned the direction of the foam to give a more natural look. And then it's time for chocolate mousse.
Chocolate mousse?
Welcome to Binging with Gert. For this chocolate mousse recipe we don't be needing a whole lot of stuff. Don't forget the kosher salt, let's go. We are going to need spackle, water, PVA glue, brown paint and a sprinkle of kosher salt. Voila, mousse au chocolat. I apply this paste like a pastry chef after a 3-day bender. Just slap it on there, give it some texture with a moist sponge. Then let it dry thoroughly and hope it looks something like this. We need to blend our rocks in with our other stone textures. For this I'm going to use the fine pumice medium, also on the cord to represent sand, dirt and what have you. Lucille cut a gate out of 2mm multiplex, perfect fit. Of course we are going to be needing rivets. The battle mats were cut from 5mm foam board. Again, Lucille did all the cutting. In fact, all the foam board used in this project was cut with a Laser Master Pro. It stinks a little bit, but nothing a good ventilation can't remedy. Please notice the battlements on the towers. Those were the same principle, but they were made from 5mm etched EVA foam, which made it very easy to bend into the shape of the tower. Of course, of this I do not have footage because I'm a total professional. Last detailing before we tackle the tower, fire slits. No self-respecting tower can do without. With the keep ready for paint, it's time to start on the main tower. I used the same materials, a large cardboard tube, the textured EVA sheets, and some more details with laser cut foam board. Look at these awesome patterns. The potential is pretty massive, isn't it? Some of the patterns were glued to a piece of 5mm EVA foam to give some rigidity while still being easily shaped, so I could attach it to the tube. The smaller details were simply glued on again with regular super glue. I had a bunch of cutouts, glued some of those back on to give a more layered effect to the EVA. The main gate, I wanted a simple yet large wooden door, bit of scratch building with balsa wood, which I weathered with a metal brush. So then it's simply a matter of cutting the balsa strips into planks, gluing them at the right place. The door handle details are cardstock, half a bead and some metal wire. I cut a hole in the foam for the door, finish it off with a strip of EVA foam, and it's almost time for painting. I need to texture the exposed foam board, use the fine pumice medium again, applied with a plaster knife and cleaned up properly, allowed to dry thoroughly, and it's already time for painting. Time flies when you're having fun. The rugs got a primer with black gesso. All the EVA foam was first treated with a hot air gun to close up the foam so it doesn't absorb the paint. No footage because I'm a total idiot, professional. Then a base coat of warm grey all over everything, and I do mean everything. I'm chopping the paint job up into smaller bits so I can always work on an area whilst the other one is drying. So after base coating the rocks, they got a wash of sepia and black wash, re-highlighted with the warm grey, and then a whole bunch of grey wash into all the nooks and crannies and where the rocks meet the walls. At this point I switched to the airbrush to shoot the washes out of the model. I used the same colors on the tower, sepia and green wash. Those are to break up the greyness. After a couple of black washes, these colors will blend nicely. Some stones were picked out with flash wash, again to break up the greyness, add a bit of variation. All the steps I did on the tower, I applied to the towers and the walls as well to tie everything together, of course. A very thin down black wash over everything. I get rid of the large pools of wash with a rag. This takes a whole time to dry, so we can now finish up the groundwork. I'm using Arid Grasslands by Geek Gaming applied to the model with some thin down PVA glue. I love that stuff. I've been using Luke's stuff for a while now and it's truly magical. It speeds up stuff so fast and it looks great. I also added a little bit of weathering with liquid pigments from Green Stuff World. Final painting on the door, a bit of metal on the hinges. I just wanted a tiny dash of color on the entire tower, so I paint some blood red into the rose at the front. I squirt some UV resin into the holes, allow it to dry, and we are at the final step. I want to re-establish some of the shadows. For that I use a little bit of black wash into the edged lines, and that is it. If you like this video, hit all the stuff that needs hitting. Sigurd has a wacky yet totally awesome Wizard's Tower. I kept it a little bit more traditional. I was out of drugs. So if you want to help and support me, check out the links below to my Patreon. Shout out to MB and Love to Learn, my newest patrons. Shout out to Weltenbauer Club Sigurd. Awesome job. Love the collab. And a big thank you to Arthur for the wonderful laser. See you soon for a new video. Bye.